What's up, guys? Aaron here from Icky Beard yet again. How are we? I am on my way home from the new office from my work, which is a slightly longer commute. I'm hoping that the sound of the car isn't too loud. I haven't recorded a video for ages and ages and ages, and I thought, hey, I've got a slightly longer commute now. I can probably prattle on for a little bit longer. But I was hoping to actually have a chat about kind of like inspiration and what I would call creative block, otherwise known as like artist's block or writer's block or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think that it is actually a very real thing, and I've heard of a few different ways to get through it, namely basically just do, which, you know, seems a little redundant, because if you've got block, then how do you just do? The thing that I have found is that my creative blocks usually come in the form when I'm like, well, you know I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do specifically, or you know, I want to work on my drawing, but every time I go to draw something, I don't like it, or I feel uninspired, and you know, whatever I draw is just garbage, so I may as well not draw at all. And I think that is, from what I've seen, it seems to be a fairly common feeling on the internet. And, you know, from most people that I know who are creative have struggled with that sort of, you put undue pressure on yourself, basically. I feel, at least. I know I do. And I know people who are creative who feel that same, especially now in the days of the internet, where you can, you know, no one's going to share their dodgy, you know, half done, you know, there's work in progress stuff, but then usually you see like the work in progress is still like ridiculously good, and then the finished product is even better. No one shows their failures on social media, really, that I've seen, at least. I know there's a few people that I follow that are really good about that. They're like, you know, people often think that my work is just like God-given talent, and I'm just awesome at everything, and so I'm showing this failure. And I think that is very helpful for other people. I find that really helpful, because there's a lot of people I look up to online that it just seems like they're just this super talented, can do no wrong, you know, artist or whatever it is they're doing, and that they basically just make gold every time. And it's really good to see those people showing, you know, failures or ideas that didn't work, or things that they just gave up on because it was not coming out as they expected. And I think things like the 100-Day Project and, you know, Inktober and what is it? Is it like Mermaid or whatever? The mermaid one? I think it's Mermaid, maybe? If it's not, it should be. I've never done that one, but yeah, so things like that, those challenges that really get you kind of out of your head. You don't have to, they give you a prompt. You don't have to think about whatever it is that you're going to create. You just follow the prompt, and hey, you know, I don't have to think about, the only thing I have to think about is what's kind of in the bounds of the challenge. And I think that's probably another really good thing that can get you out of that creative block, is by actually giving yourself restrictions. If you don't have some sort of restriction on yourself, you can get paralyzed by too much possibility. I have found that when it's like, you know, I want to draw something, I don't know what to draw, and the possibilities are just too much. I can't possibly choose one because there's just too many avenues that I could go down, and if I do this one, then that's cutting myself off from going down this other avenue. And I think that's why it is good to sometimes, especially when unless you have a specific inspiration where it's like, I've definitely had that before where I was trying to focus on a particular, like for example, the fluid simulation stuff and the 3D modeling that I've been doing. When I did my intro for my YouTube channel, I wanted to have the inky beard, and so I saw a post on Reddit where a person had done the fluid only existed inside the shape of it was text, but I thought I can apply that to my logo and create like a really cool animation. And so I started looking at fluid simulation and the animations using simulation, and that kind of took me down a path where I started just by kind of focusing on that one thing and put myself inside those bounds, and then it gave me inspiration to think, oh well, that's really cool. I could do I don't know if I'll put it in here somewhere, my most recent animation that I was able to do really came to me in an inspired way because I had put myself in the bounds of, I'm just going to do fluid simulation for a little bit and really kind of hone that craft. And I think the 100-day project is really good for that, and I think it's probably close to being finished now, maybe. But yeah, it is really good for that because you can say, I'm only going to do this thing for 100 days, or I'm going to make 100 days worth of X. It kind of gives you that, I'm going to hone my craft and really concentrate on this specific thing, rather than just being like, well, I'm just going to make anything and the sky's the limit. And sometimes the sky's the limit is not a good thing. Sometimes you actually need to give yourself the bounds so that when that inspiration hits and you want to break beyond those bounds, it's actually in an inspired direction. You actually have a path to go. I feel like creative block is because you don't actually have any specific idea or inspiration that is driving you towards some motivation that is driving you. You're just kind of aimless and hence just stop, basically. And then the other one is what I have been kind of struggling with recently, is that I have kind of too many ideas and not enough time. And so when I do get time and it's a small amount, I don't know what to basically start with. Again, I think it's that too many options, too many possibilities. It's like, well, should I draw, or should I do some 3D animation, or should I work on my website? Like my Inky Beard website needs a bit of love because it's just a random hodgepodge of like thrown together 5 minutes here and there, and like it really doesn't show. Like if I think your website, if you don't have one, you should definitely go and get one. They're super cheap these days, and there are so many things like Squarespace and Wix and all of those guys, and you can host it yourself, and even things like Linktree, and there's like .me. I think they're about .me maybe, where you can actually have just your own basically portfolio landing page. Or Linktree is good, where it's basically just you set it up with a background and basically links where people can follow you, which is basically all my personal inkybeard.com website is at the moment. I would love to have it as more of a showcase, like here's my most recent videos. And I recently actually worked this out for Adele. I've got a snippet of code where I just punch that in and it literally pulls in the thumbnails and the titles and a link to her most recent videos. And yeah, it's super simple. And I would like to have that on my own website, so that it's just like, it's a place where you can go and get a snapshot of my work and what I am interested in. And again, like that is something I want to do, but you know, that takes time. And do I prioritize that over animating and drawing and doing whatever, or will that leave me feeling fulfilled? Which it probably will, because I really want to get that work done, and when I have a finished product to show for it. But again, that's like, I don't think that, especially that, because it will take a bit of time. I know myself, I just need to prioritize and say, well, I've only got 20 minutes. So is that really enough time for me to fix up my website and to have something at the end of that 20 minutes that isn't going to leave me thinking, well, that was a waste of time. You know, I should have done something else. Can I smash out a 20-minute drawing and be happy with the end result? Or is that going to leave me with a bad taste in my mouth? And then when the next 20 minutes comes up, or even half an hour, I'm like, well, you know, I didn't like drawing last time, so I'm not going to do it again. Yeah, I just think we need to be realistic and honest with ourselves about what we can achieve in the time that we have, if that makes any sense. Man, I have just rambled on for this video. I hope some of that was interesting or helpful. Let me know if you have any tips about ways that you get around creative block. I really find, and I think I've said this before, I really find it helpful to actually look at other people's work and be like, yes, that's really cool. You know, I kind of want to, the imitation is flattery is definitely a spot on thing, and I think that it can really help you get out of a creative funk. And obviously, if you're doing it in a respectful way, like there's no point just completely copying what someone else has done and being like, oh, hey, look at this thing I made. If it's actually done in like a, you know, add your own twist and explore an idea or a technique, and then that can actually be the jumping off point for some inspiration. I think that is definitely my greatest way to get through creative block, is by getting around that need for me to come up with something super inspired. It's like, here's this thing that I like. I know I like it. Find out, like, really examine the reasons why I like it. Is it the entire composition of the thing, or is it just certain techniques they've used, or just this one part, or like the costume of the character, or, you know, what is it about that speaks to me and makes me want to be creative off the back of that? Why do I find that thing interesting, and how can I twist that and make something new out of it, rather than just creating a reproduction or a copy? So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I got an awesome parcel sent to me by the guys at, now I will have to look it up, I believe it's Popov, P-O-P-O-V, Popov Leather, and they sent me an awesome, I actually have it in my pocket here. I'm going to do a full proper review on it. They sent me this awesome little card wallet, which I am absolutely loving. I wanted to make sure that I actually got some use out of the products first before I did a review on it, which, you know, they are probably like, hey, we sent you the things, why haven't you reviewed it? But I actually wanted to make sure that I use them first. So that will be a video I will do very soon, when we get some time to actually catch up on all the things we need to do for baby number 2. But yeah, I will be doing a review on that stuff very soon, and I hope you're all having an awesome time, and thank you so much for listening to my ramble. Alright, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.